Journey to the West, an audio drama series. Chapter 22, Part 1. The three travelers, the Tang monk and his disciples, having survived the previous ordeal, continued forward on their journey. It took them less than a day to cross the Yellow Wind Valley stretching 800 li. Westward was vast flatland. Time flew by as summer bled into autumn. Cicadas buzzed on withering willows as the stars flowed westward, signaling the change of seasons. As they walked, they came across a turbulent river with tumbling waves. Sanzang quickly called out from the back of the horse. "Disciples, look at how wide the river is. Why are there no boats in sight? Where shall we cross?" Bajie looked and said, "It truly is a wild river. There is no boat to cross in." Meanwhile, Xingzhe jumped into the air to have a look, using his hand to shade his eyes. Even he remarked in astonishment, "Oh, master, it will be hard, quite hard. If you're talking about Elderson here, it only takes a slight shake of my waist to cross the river. But for you, master, it would honestly be extremely difficult to make through." Sanzang said, "I cannot see the other side from here. How wide is it exactly?" Xingzhe answered, "About 800 across." Bajie asked, "Elder brother, how did you determine the distance?" Xingzhe explained, "To tell you the truth, my wise younger brother, this pair of eyes of mine can often see the wonders and misfortunes on 1,000 li of road during the day. I was just checking from the air. I cannot tell how long the river is, but I can see it is at least 800 li across." Worried and sighing, the elder turned the horse around in distress. Suddenly, he saw a stone tablet on the shore. The three gathered to have a look. 3 characters were inscribed on it in seal script. Liu Sha He, meaning flowing sand river. In the middle, there were 4 lines of true words in regular script, which said, 800 li in the realm of flowing sand. 3,000 is the depth of these weak waters. A goose feather cannot stay afloat, destined to sink to the bottom or reed flowers. Master and disciples were reading the inscriptions when suddenly the waves piled into the shape of a mountain as the currents turned like valleys. From under the river splashed out a monster, and how very hideous he was. With messy hair like red flames, his 2 round eyes shone like lamps. His face was dark blue, and his voice sounded like thunders and drums. Wearing a coat made of yellow goose feather, he had white vines tied to his waist. Under his neck hung 9 skulls, and in his hands was a mighty treasure staff. Like a hurricane, the monster rushed on shore, coming straight for the Tang monk. Panicking, Xingzhe took his master into his arms and pivoted away, running to higher ground. Bajie, on the other hand, put down his luggage pole and wielded his iron rake, aiming it straight at the monster. The monster held back with his treasure staff. The 2 of them fought on the shore of the flowing sand river, each showing off their heroic prowess. What a splendid fight it was! 9-pronged rake and monster-quelling staff, one from the chief commander named Heavenly Reeds, the other from the great curtain-raising general in exile. In days past, they would have gathered in the Hall of Miraculous Mist, but today they will bet on who has the strongest fist. Waving their weapons wildly at each other, one was the long-time resident of Flowing Sand, a monster who ate humans. The other was a general committed to religion and cultivation. The pair went back and forth at each other for 20 rounds, but there was no victor. The great sage kept the Tang monk safe while he held the horse and guarded the luggage. Watching Bajie fight the monster, he became so impatient to the point of grinding his teeth. Rubbing his fists, he couldn't help but head forward to fight the monster. Wielding his rod, he said, "Master, do sit here and be not afraid. Let Elderson go play with him." His master begged him to stay, but failed. With a whistle, he hopped to the front. It turned out that the monster and Bajie were at the best part of their battle, where the 2 were perfectly even. With Xingzhe raising his iron rod and aiming right at the monster's head, the monster quickly turned around and hastily dodged the attack before crawling straight back into the flowing sand river. Enraged, Bajie jumped up and down and said, "Oh, elder brother, who told you to come? The monster was gradually getting slower and struggling to hold off my rake. In a few rounds I would have captured him, but he escaped in defeat when you terrified him. What are we to do?" Xingzhe laughed and said, "Brother, to be honest with you, it's been over a month since we defeated the Yellow Wind Master and got off that mountain, and I haven't had to use my staff or play since. I saw you having that sweet fight with him and just couldn't help but feel my feet itch. That's why I jumped down to play with him. I had no idea he would leave without having some fun." The two held hands as they happily chattered their way back to the tongue monk. The tongue monk asked, "Were you able to capture the monster?" Xingzhe answered, "The monster couldn't stand to fight and crawled back into the water in defeat." Sanzang said, "Disciples, this monster has lived here for a long time, so he must know the depth of the water. With boundless weak water like this and without a boat, we've got to have someone who's good with water to lead us." Xingzhe said, "You're right. Like the saying goes, what's near cinnabar turns red, and what's close to ink turns black. The monster lives here and must know the way through the waters. Once we capture him, we shall not beat or kill him. Just instruct him to carry master across the river, and deal with the rest then." Bajie said, "Hesitate no more, elder brother. You shall go take him on first. Let old Board here watch over master." Xingzhe chuckled and said, "My wise younger brother, I dare not bluff here. Elder Sun isn't that familiar with the whole underwater business. If it's just a plain walk-through, I still have to hold certain gestures and recite a water-blocking spell to make it happen. Otherwise, I would have to transform into some sort of fish, shrimp, crab, or turtle before going in. If you're just talking about skills, whatever absurdity you can imagine happening up in the mountains and clouds, Elder Sun can make it happen. But when it takes place in the water, I get rather clumsy." Bajie said, "When old Bo was the chief commander of the Heavenly River, I led a naval force of 80,000 soldiers. I do know a thing or two about water. I only fear if he has a whole nest of extended family down there in the water, that would be too much for me to take on, and what if I accidentally got taken by him instead?" Xingzhe advised, "If you fight him in the water, do not linger. Feign defeat rather than claim victory and tease him out here so Elder Sun can give you a helping hand." Bajie said, "Sounds good. I'm on my way." Once he declared his departure, he took off his dark robe, undershirts, and shoes. Waving his rake with both hands, he separated the water and performed his tricks from the olden days. Turning and riding on waves, he pushed forward and went underwater, taking the straight way ahead. We speak of the monster who returned in defeat and was barely catching his breath before hearing someone pushing through the water. He quickly rose to look and found it was Bajie who was pushing the water with his rake. The monster raised his staff and shouted to his face, "That monk over there, where are you going? Be careful and take the hit." Bajie held him off with his rake and said, "What sort of monster are you? How dare you block my way?" The monster answered, "You don't know who I am. I am no monster or spirit, nor do I lack a proper name." Bajie said, "If you're not a fiendish monster, why are you harming lives here? What is your name? Spill the truth, and I will spare your life." The monster answered, "I was born strong and talented, traveling the world as a great hero. An immortal led me onto the path to greatness as I cultivated and accumulated merit. The Jade Emperor promoted me for that reason, personally granting me the title of curtain-raising general. I was respected in the Heavenly Palace, never leaving the throne side. It was only when the Queen Mother held a banquet of peaches when by accident I broke a jade glass. This angered the Jade Emperor, who stripped away my titles and sentenced me to death. Thanks to the great barefoot immortal who begged for my exile instead, I escaped death and was banished to the east coast of Flowing Sand. When I am full, I sleep in the mountains and search for food in the waves when I'm hungry. Woodcutters who meet me lose their lives and fishermen who see me perish. Back and forth, day by day, I've eaten plenty of humans, and again I sin for taking lives. How dare you bring violence to my door, but I guess my stomach has something to look forward to today. Speak not of how your flesh is too rough for my taste, for I will catch you and take my time to turn you into pickled meat." Bajie heard this and became outraged, yelling, "You unruly creature has got no eyesight at all. You can still squeeze water from this old boar's skin. How dare you call me rough and say you will make me into pickled meat? It seems that you are taking me for a dried piece of meat. Watch your manner. Take this rake from your ancestor." The monster saw the rake coming and dodged it with a move we call a phoenix's knot. The pair fought underwater and later above river. Both were stepping on waves. This battle was different from the one before. Look at them, curtain-raising general and marshal of heavenly wreaths, both showing off their tricks. What a lovely sight it is. With skills and agility, they made waves that shook mountains and dimmed the world. One had a burning heart to protect the tongue monk, the other was a water monster deep in sin. One strike of the rake will leave 9 marks, and once the staff hits, the soul will scatter. Determined to win this fight, if only for the scripture seeker. With anger beyond description, they fought till the fish lost their scales and turtles hurt their shells. Gods of the waters could only beck to the skies above. The waves turned like thunder, and the world became dark and strange. The two fought on for up to 2 时辰, but couldn't determine a winner. It really was a case of a copper basin meeting an iron broomstick, a jade chime hitting a golden bell. We speak of the great sage who was guarding the tongue monk on the side. He had to watch the two fight on the water with wide eyes, unable to find a good time to make his move. Then, with a fake swing of the rake, Bajie feigned defeat and turned around to run for the east shore. The monster followed right behind him and got close to land. No longer able to control himself, Xingzhe left his master behind and took his iron rod before jumping over to the side of the river to hit the monster right on his head. The monster dared not go up against him, so he swiftly went back into the river. Bajie complained, "Bima Wen, you really are an impatient monkey. Just wait a little more and I would have had him lured to higher ground. Once you blocked the river bank, he would have had no way to turn back and we would have had him in the bag already. Now that he's back in there, when will he ever come out again?" Xingzhe laughed and said, "Fool, stop yelling. Let's go back and see master." Bajie then walked to higher ground with Xingzhe to see Sanzang. Sanzang tilted his body to say, "You've been working hard, disciples." Bajie said, "Speak nothing of the hard work. We just have to subdue the monster in order to send you across the river. That's the best plan at hand." Sanzang asked, "How did the fight go between you and the monster?" Bajie explained, "The monster's skills are a good match against this old bull. We were just fighting when I faked defeat to get him on shore. But when he saw Elder Brother with the rod over his head, he ran away." Sanzang asked, "What do we do now?" Xingzhe said, "Relax, master. Be not anxious. It's getting late now. Let's just sit under this cliff while Elderson goes to beg for some vegetarian food. You can eat it before going to sleep. We'll deal with this later." Bajie said, "Sounds good. Go now and come back soon." Xingzhe quickly unleashed his cloud and jumped on. Heading northward, he found a family to beg from for a bowl of vegetarian food to offer his master. His master saw his quick return and asked, "Wukong, why not ask the family that you begged the vegetarian food from for a way to cross the river? How is that not better than fighting this monster?" Wukong chuckled and said, "That family is extremely far away. They are several thousand li away, in fact. How do they even know anything about water? What's the point of asking them?" Bajie said, "Elder Brother is bluffing again. How do you even come and go so fast across several thousand li?" Xingzhe explained, "What do you know? Elderson's somersault cloud can cross 108,000 li with one jump. For several thousand li of distance, it only takes a knot or two and a shake of the waist to make the round trip. How hard is that?" Bajie said, "Big brother, if it's so easy, you can carry master on your back and it will only take a knot and a twist of the waist for you to jump across. Why bother to have these bitter fights with him?" Xingzhe asked, "Can't you ride on a cloud? Why don't you carry master across?" Bajie explained, "Master's mortal flesh and bones are as heavy as Mount Tai. How can I lift him even if I can ride on a cloud? It would have to be your somersault cloud." Xingzhe said, "My somersault in theory is also a riding cloud, the only difference being the distance we can go. If you can't carry the weight, how can I? As the ancient saying goes, moving Mount Tai is like moving something as light as a mustard seed, but to carry a mortal man, you will struggle to escape the red dust of the mortal world. Someone like this vicious monster may be able to play magical tricks or start a wind, but it's all just dragging and pulling near the ground. He can't take that into the air. Elderson is also capable of such tricks, as well as invisibility and slipping into the ground. Elderson knows them all. But precisely because Master is destined to cross every foreign land and unable to escape the sea of suffering, each step we take is made difficult. You and I can only serve as guards and make sure he stays intact and alive. But we cannot suffer these ordeals in his place, nor can we seek the scriptures for him. Even if we made it to Buddha, Buddha still would not easily pass them on to us. This is what we call, what's easily obtained is easily dismissed. The fool heard this and nodded in agreement. So they had some vegetarian food without side dishes before Master and disciples rested under the east cliff by the flowing sand river.